Let's talk about the latest update for EuroSurge. This is what it now looks like. I have it on Ethereum 15-minute, and that is because it doesn't matter where you put it. It will initialize the symbols, which we can see here, independently in the background. But not only will it initialize them, it'll initialize all of these strategies. So EuroSurge has many strategies now. Here are the strategies for Euro Pound, which is 13, and EURUSD, which has 14 at the moment, and GBPUSD, I had to reduce some of them. It is, I believe, sitting on 11 right now, but there will be an update in a couple of days, just rectifying some of the inconsistencies with that. It's nothing major. You can use it as it is, but I've had to make some adjustments to EURUSD, and the same small adjustments I'll have to make to GBPUSD, and that is just because of inconsistencies with the dollar, all of this tariff stuff. If the dollar remains as problematic as it is now, we've got two USD correlated currency pairs and only one that is not USD correlated. For this year, Euro Pound has been the most reliable to use. It initializes 40 strategies across three symbols, three currency pairs. It initializes them in the background. It essentially opens up the chart, 40 charts with each of their independent. So we've got 10-minute time frame here, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute time frame, and they each have their own individual parameters. I removed the buttons. We no longer have buttons, no longer have key levels. You no longer need to close trades because it no longer hedges. It just trades nice and easy, takes its time, and makes very consistent profit. Let's have a look at the inputs. These are our inputs. And the only things that you're really going to need to change are your currency pairs. So if you want to remove GBPUSD, for example, you'll remove it. If you want to remove EURUSD, you'll remove it. If we hit on OK, it's only going to have Euro Pound trading. This is the new initialization, and it'll only initialize Euro Pound. These are currently the only supported symbols. This is where we will change our lot sizing to either percentage or fixed lots. I prefer percentage, but I think just as a safety net, I'll leave fixed lots as default. You control everything from one chart, so you don't need to use set files. You set this up here and it'll apply to all three of your symbols. We can use percentage base, which is 1%. You can increase this. It comfortably can do approximately 2 to 2.5% if you're feeling brave. I ran a test at 5% risk since 1999, and the drawdown was high, something like 60-70%, but that's with 5% risk. That's risking 5% per trade. So if you, for example, lose 5 trades in a row, that's 25% down. And yeah, it survived that from 1999. 1% is very conservative with the current application because it doesn't trade a lot. It trades 1 trade a week per symbol. Using 3 symbols, it will trade approximately 3 trades a week. It no longer holds trades forever, and that's just because I've narrowed the take profit and stop loss, so it is a bit more of a intraday trader. There will be some trades that remain open. It's just a matter of probability. That is how this entire system has been built. The win rate is really high, and it is because I'm focusing on probability and statistics, no longer price levels and all of these things. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know what the support and resistance mean to the unformed market that we cannot yet see because it doesn't exist. That doesn't mean anything really. That is what I would just call superstition. I'm not a superstitious guy. I would rather just stick to facts, statistics, and probability. That's what the system has been designed for. Another setting you will probably play with is this one. Max simultaneous trades is default 1. That applies to only one symbol. So you'll only have 1 trade for Euro Pound at a time, 1 trade for EURUSD or GBPUSD. Now, it's not here because it's trying to protect the account, because if we set this to 0, it'll disable this filter and it'll just sometimes have 2 trades open. It doesn't overtrade. The core logic, I made sure to focus before worrying about any add-ons, any additional things. I made sure that the core, the foundation is really robust. So basically, at the end of the day, that's why I removed all of the buttons from chart. That's why it no longer has the max daily drawdown. There's no need for it. Unless you're using 10% per trade, there isn't any risk at the end of the day. If things go bad, which I really doubt they will, but let's say a hypothetical things go horribly wrong for the next 12 months and the system is just losing. It's going to lose slowly, gradually. There'll be plenty of time. By the time you 10, 20% down, it'll be a long period of time between now and then for that to occur. The max simultaneous trades default is 1. I use 0. So for prop trading, that is what I do. Set it to 0.8 and I leave this on 0. And that means, I think according to the testing from 2020, I can expect to have approximately 8% drawdown at this configuration, and it'll trade. It does wonderfully. If you are using prop trading, you can set it to anywhere from 0.5 to 0.8%, and it'll trade very beautifully. You can have it at 1%. If you want to get through the challenge phase a bit quicker, just make sure that you use Euro Pound if you want to do that. Because right now, for this year, Euro Pound only had 1 loss. Out of, I think, the 26 or 28 trades that I have had from Euro Pound this year, it has only lost 1 trade, approximately 4% drawdown within Euro Pound as a standalone. But I'm not just using Euro Pound, I'm using EURUSD and GBPUSD, which have had a couple more losses on their end as well. It's not affecting the account balance negatively, but just in terms of win rates, Euro Pound is the most stable at the moment, and I don't see any reason for it not to continue being stable for the next 2, 3, 4 months. If you want to increase your risk, just use what really works, and that is Euro Pound. Unless you want to decrease your risk and diversify, because we don't know when Euro Pound is going to start losing trades. Then we have our GMT offset, which will be broker dependent, but also not really. So for example, my broker right now, for whatever reason, is +3 GMT. My local time is +2. I'm going to leave it at 2 because I've done all of my testing at +2, and it's just for the trade windows. A 1 hour difference isn't going to be a major difference, but if your broker time is like GMT +5, you definitely might want to change your GMT offset. But you can also do your own testing, right? You can put this in the tester and change this value. And the great part is you can test all 3 of these symbols at the same time because of how it has been implemented in the code. You can do a backtest with them individually, so you'll remove whatever you don't want to test, but you can just add them back if you want to test them. And then there's the news filter. Don't use it right now. It is printing quite a lot. I'll do a quick update. It's probably going to use up a bit of your storage in the logs. It's going to print quite a bit, so don't use it. It's hard coded to avoid NFP Fridays. It's literally coded in the code because that's the only way I can backtest a news filter. So I just made sure for all of the testing to avoid NFP Friday. If there are any trades open at 12 in the afternoon, it'll just close all of the trades relative to your offset. So make sure that your offset is within 1 hour of what it needs to be. The reason why I'm not going to say it has to be exact, because I realize now, I think the change for DST has occurred last month in March, and I didn't realize until actually having a look at it now. So all of my testing, for example, for GBPUSD has been at this. So it would have not been 100% accurate to the current time frame. And also, realistically, it shouldn't have a massive difference. The trade window is rather large. We just don't want trades happening at 10 p.m. or some strange time at night. Preferably in the morning or early afternoon, and try and conclude as soon as possible. That is the only inputs that you need at the moment. Once again, now that these have reinitialized, I would like to put it into context. Each of these are essentially a chart that's opened in the background at a particular time frame, loading a set of parameters, and all of these strategies are working together, right? They all work together. Every single one of these strategies, they work together. They either can veto trades, they can allow trades. It's designed for them to work together. They're not 12 or 13 or whatever independent strategies, because that wouldn't help us at all. So they work together the same way all of our indicators have to collectively decide, yes, it is a buy, and now we have that same criteria, but across multiple strategies. And that gives us very long-term stable results. It does hurt our trade frequency, but there is a trade-off. Do we want accurate trades or do we just want spam trades? The older version, every set file would just be one of these, right? So if you load a set file for EURUSD, the FIFO, it'll just be one of these. And then you load another one for hedging, it'll just be the other one. Well, just technically, and they don't work together. They don't work collectively. The FIFO and the hedging, they'll be separate, they'll be independent, and they'll trade whenever they want to trade. Right now, it is a solid system and an awesome formula. This took me a very long time to put together. And the great thing is, I can apply this to any logic. I'm going to be experimenting with different indicators as well. Not for EuroSurge. I think EuroSurge has probably one of the best systems that it can have right now without just making it unnecessarily bloated. And there will be some more symbols coming. There is this configuration mode that says day trading. That is because I was testing a scalping logic as well. So it would, for example, scalp and day trade at the same time, not over trading or opening a large amount of trades at all, but the scalper would, for example, open 3 or 4 trades a week and essentially scalp, nothing holding trades for days or too long. So that was one of my options. The other option is just to add more symbols. There is a certain ceiling that I have to be careful of, and that particular ceiling is this. And right now, running approximately 40 strategies, it's using 3.5 gigs of RAM. And it has reduced somewhat now. As soon as it initializes for the first couple of minutes, it's at around 4 gigs of RAM. And all of this has to remain in the memory because it retrieves all of the information so that it knows when to trade, when not to trade, what it is supposed to do. And that is the problem with adding more and more. So if I add another 3 scalping strategies to this, which will be reliable, I'll use the same concept. We'll just increase the trade frequency somewhat, or we use additional symbols. But at the end of the day, if we add another additional 40 strategies, 40 plus, because it's probably, as more things are refined and more things are added, every couple of months we add another 1 or 2 strategies to make it a bit more robust, which it already is. I really don't see it improving anymore besides increasing the trade volume reliably. So we increase our trade volume without affecting our drawdown. We can double our income by keeping our drawdown basically where it is. And at this win rate, which is approximately 80% collectively, it is really good. There is a ceiling to what I can add to the system, and that is due to RAM. So if I add an additional 40 strategies, this is going to double. We're going to be using 7 gigs of RAM. And I'm already using 64%, even though I've got 16 gigs of RAM. That's because of all of the other processes that happens in the background of a normal system. Your performance is going to feel it. And if you use a server, a VPS, it might crash your server if you exceed the allocated RAM for your virtual machine. Because if you try and exceed the allocated resources, it will either try and first limit your system, which will make everything stutter, lag. So all of your calculations are going to be slow. It might not execute in time. There's a whole new can of worms with adding too much to this. Even though I have cleaned it up immensely, it is still way more resource intensive than what EuroSurge ever was. But this is the only way that I reliably can tell you with confidence and say, yeah, this is all you really will need. So let's just focus on what works really well and get a very robust system. I use this system as well. I want to make sure that it is good, right? In all honesty, I haven't been using 2.5 since January because I've been working on this. And I've been using this for a very long time. I was going to introduce it as a standalone, but I thought EuroSurge would definitely benefit from this. And this formula that I have applied here is possible to explore in so many different ways. I already have a new system that I'm working on and will probably only release toward the end of this year. It's not going to be a system that will revolutionize or be, oh, it's twice as good as EuroSurge. No, all of them are going to have their pros and cons. It's just the way it works. EuroSurge will have its own advantages, disadvantages. For example, it's really accurate, but there's a very low trade volume. The other system will also have its own advantages or disadvantages. You could use them together and there shouldn't be any conflict, or you can use them independently. So that's all up to how you want to do things. I want to deliver these systems to always give you the option. This isn't a one-trick pony. It's not just doing one thing. It's not only trading gold. I know right now it doesn't support gold. In fact, it actually does, but it's not done. So don't use it. Let's quickly have a look at a backtest over here. This is a backtest for, I believe it is from 2020. And this is all of our symbols. Now this can go back. You can go ahead and test it. You can test it from as far as you have data. For me, it is 1999, so you can go ahead and test it. It just goes. Obviously, there are periods. So here we have some losing periods. This will be a month or maybe even a bit longer than a month where it will have a loss, but it does eventually climb out of it quite nicely. Now, a lot of these dips here are due to GBPUSD. If I remove it, it should be cleaner. Okay, so this is our test with only EURUSD and EUROPound, and it is quite a bit cleaner. We still have a bit of choppy events happening over here, which would have occurred either in December, because this is January of this year, so probably in December, but only for EURUSD. Only EURUSD has that, and but other than that, it has climbed really nicely. Our overall profit has suffered to a degree, but a lot less choppy areas. We do have this and we do have that, but it is not a very choppy situation. Going back to this chart, including our GBPUSD results, you can actually go into the backtest and see it has 3 symbols, right? Because it is technically 3 symbols that it has been testing in one go. This is a collective backtest, and our risk is only 0.8% for this. And our results are, so here we have 10% drawdown. If we remove GBPUSD, it will be even less, but I don't want to remove it. I just want to refine it. So after cleaning it up, this should be approximately 8% drawdown at 0.8%. And it is because I want this to be really good at prop trading. That is my main focus at the moment, is to make sure that the system is really good at prop trading. Other than that, we have total trades won is 77%, and that is from 2020. I can't show you my live results because my live results is with many different testings, many different variations. I also take things in and out. So I don't have a dedicated signal for this yet, which is a pity, because if I had a dedicated signal since using this, which would be mid-January, it would have such really awesome results, especially EUROPound. Only using EUROPound, it's just been doing really well. And you can literally, after every week or after every trade has concluded, you can backtest it and that trade will be there. There's no funny business going on in the backtest. I'm very pleased with this right now. It is probably the best system that I can with confidence say I have, and it is going to get even better with the small refinements, so with GBPUSD and then the additional stuff that is coming. This update is only for MT5, and any subsequent updates will only be for MT5. I'm no longer going to program for MT4. So any MT4 users, reach out to me. If you do not have the MT5 version, reach out to me so that I can help you get the MT5 version. I'm only going to program for MT5 because that means I can create one very good system instead of having to dumb down MT5 in order to match the capabilities of MT4. For the longest time, MT4 couldn't even support the FIFO set files because the timeframes used within the FIFO set files just don't exist for MT4. So I can give you the best without any compromises. That's the update for EuroSurge. If you do have any questions, you know where to contact me, but you can leave a comment or MKL5. If you don't have it and you want to get it, now will be a very good time. There will be a link in the description for you to go and check out. Some more updates are coming in the next couple of weeks. I do have new and up and coming work that will be published in a couple of months, and yes, months, because building a system takes months. It's not something you can just do overnight. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if all of this is too costly or too complicated for you, you can always go ahead and check out a video that I made on Fiverr, where I actually programmed and made quite a bit of money. So if that is something you find interesting or maybe you want to do as well, you can go and check out this video. Other than that, have an awesome day. Bye-bye.